Roller coasters are not just attractions. They are an explosion of adrenaline, brilliant engineering, and a theater of speed where every inversion is a story. Over the years of their existence, they have learned to twist, flip, and challenge gravity in ways no one ever expected. Today I will show you 100 of the rarest and most impressive elements ever created in the world of roller coasters. Those that exist only in single copies and blow the minds of even the most experienced fans. Buckle up. Our journey begins into a world where physics bends and imagination knows no limits. This rare element was created by the Swiss company Intamin and can be found on only one single ride, Storm Runner at Hershey Park in the state of Pennsylvania. In our previous episode about rare elements, we already talked about the flying snake dive on this same ride. But, as it turned out, that is not the only unique inversion on Storm Runner. This coaster is known for 3 high-speed inversions, and the first of them is the only Cobra loop in the world. It is important not to confuse it with the classic Cobra roll. Here, everything is much more interesting. The element begins with a giant half-loop climb with a height of 135 feet. The riders flip upside down, and at that moment the track suddenly twists counterclockwise. If you look at this element from above, you will never confuse it with anything else. It looks roughly like my first attempt at writing a lowercase h in calligraphy class in elementary school. Overall, Storm Runner is one of my favorite high-speed launched coasters. And thanks to the fact that it has as many as 2 unique elements, every roller coaster fan simply has to experience it. This element was developed by the American company S&S Sansei, and you can see it only on the ride Max Force at Six Flags Great America in the state of Illinois. The author of this unusual element is a person whose name you will hear more than once today, Joe Draves. He is the lead design engineer at Ride Centerline, a company that designs some of the most advanced layouts in the industry. And that is no surprise, because among its founders is the legendary Alan Shilka, the very same one who gave the world the innovative projects of the company RMC. Thanks to Draves' engineering genius, truly outstanding elements appeared, and the dog tongue is one of them. The element received its name because of its shape. When viewed from above, the layout really does resemble the tongue of a dog licking its lips. When Max Force was being designed, Draves had to fit the layout between the park's railway tracks and the classic roller coaster Whizzer, so after the launch acceleration, something completely original was required in order to continue the route. Just like the Cobra loop, this element begins with a large half-loop climb. But after reaching the top, the rails perform a second inversion, transitioning into something like a dive loop. This creates a double inversion, an extremely rare technique. The most impressive thing here is the moment when riders experience upside-down airtime during the second inversion. After the double inversion, the layout dives down and passes underneath the entrance into the element itself. And that is exactly why there is a characteristic little hill at the end of the launch track. Add to this a heartline roll and a unique max dive loop, and you get a short but incredibly intense ride, resembling a spicy mini burger with the flavor of pure adrenaline. This rare element was created by the German company Gerstlauer, and you can experience it only on the coaster Hang Time at Knott's Berry Farm in California. Interestingly, this is not the first coaster with an element under that name. When the ride monster opened at Adventureland in the state of Iowa, its creators claimed that it featured the first negative G-stall loop in the Western Hemisphere. So when Hang Time opened in 2018, Knott's Berry Farm proudly announced that they had the second such element. However, it turned out that in reality, the element on Hang Time is noticeably different from the one on Monster. The Monster layout includes a twisted dive and a vertical loop, exactly the same as on the Finnish coaster Junker at Power Park. This element was called the Finnish loop, and now, according to the RCDB database, that is exactly how it is classified. But the element on Hang Time has a completely different dynamic. It starts with a more twisted entry, and instead of a classic vertical loop, uses a shape reminiscent of a sidewinder, with the direction of movement changing already on the way down. On hang time, this inversion comes right after the vertical drop, so you enter it at full speed. At the top, you feel a truly breathtaking suspension and even a bit of airtime, and in the middle, a sharp plunge that adds extra adrenaline. This detail makes the ride incredibly popular. You could say it is the meatball that perfectly complements the whole pasta chaos of the layout. If you have not ridden hang time yet, I strongly recommend adding it to your list. This element is a true engineering oddity. It was created by two companies at once, Intamin and Gerstlauer, and even with such cooperation, it remains one of the rarest in the world. Interestingly, the appearance of this element was not planned at all. The story began in 2001, when Six Flags Discovery Kingdom in California, then called Six Flags Marine World, opened the new inverted-launched shuttle coaster Vertical Velocity. Initially, it was a standard model of the Impulse series, a straight vertical tower on one side and a twisted spiral on the other. But soon, a problem arose. The ride violated local height regulations because it reached a height of more than 150 feet. The park tried to get around the restriction by claiming that the height was exactly 150 feet, but the authorities still demanded that the coaster be modified or dismantled. The management chose a compromise: keep the ride, but redesign the upper part of the structure. The twisted vertical tower had to be tilted at an angle, and that is how an entirely new, unique element was born: the twisted inline rollback. Almost 20 years later, the idea came to life again, this time on the Coaster Mystic, designed by Gerstlauer for the French park Walibi-Rhône-Alpes. This shuttle coaster repeats the principle of the original. The train climbs a twisted section of track and then, under the force of gravity, rolls back down. It is hard to believe, but if Six Flags had not violated the height rules back then, this element might never have existed at all. Here is a genuine butterfly effect in the world of roller coasters. Created again by S&S Sansei and once more invented by Joe Draves, this element can be experienced only on one ride, Gale Force, in the small but vibrant park Playland's Castaway Cove in the state of New Jersey. If you remember, I have already mentioned this ride in my video about the most underrated coasters, and my opinion has not changed. Gale Force is still one of the most unique and memorable coasters, despite its compact size. It stands out in literally everything: a double-cycle layout, sharp bursts of airtime, insane pacing, and at the same time, surprising compactness. It is probably the most unusual mini-launched coaster I have ever ridden. If you have to choose one element that makes Gale Force truly special, it would be the kickflip, the second figure in the layout, right after the top hat. The climb to the top ends with a sharp lateral drop, and at that moment, riders feel an instant spike of weightlessness. The name kickflip is taken from skateboarding. In this trick, the rider flips the board sideways in midair. On the ride, the feeling is very similar, as if you yourself have jumped and pulled off the trick. Every second here is filled with drive, and the overall sensation is as if you are jumping on a skateboard, only instead of a board, there is a high-speed train beneath you. You could say that Playland's Castaway Cove is incredibly lucky to have such a bright gem in its collection. Once again, S&S Sansei, and once again, Joe Draves. This person is, without exaggeration, a true artist in the world of extreme rides. The Drakenfire dive drop element was born under the influence of the infamous coaster Drakenfire, which once stood at Busch Gardens Williamsburg in Virginia. This 1992 ride went down in history as one of the most unsuccessful projects of its time. Originally, the project was to be developed by the company Bolliger & Mabillard, B&M, but due to scheduling issues, production was handed over to the American firm Aerodynamics. They tried to imitate the signature style of B&M, using tubular supports and new types of elements with which they had no prior experience. One of these innovations was supposed to be a loop wrapping around the lift hill, in the style of the famous Kumba in Florida. But the engineers at Aero were unable to bring the idea to life and replaced it with a huge corkscrew built directly into the first drop. The result was disastrous. The ride was so rough and uncomfortable that Drachenfire quickly earned a reputation as a nightmare on rails. However, as people say, someone's failure sometimes becomes someone else's inspiration. Years later, Joe Draves took that forgotten element and turned it into a masterpiece, creating the Drachenfire Dive Drop, a unique inversion that now adorns the legendary coaster Steel Curtain at Kennywood in Pennsylvania. In an interview with Coaster Force, Draves said that it was that old corkscrew from Drachenfire that inspired him to create this version. He placed the inversion right at the beginning of the drop, and so the highest inversion in the world appeared, rising 197 feet above the ground. I have not yet had the chance to ride Steel Curtain, but the reviews of those who have ridden it speak for themselves. Lightning-fast transitions, strong airtime, and of course that very impressive dive drop, which has already become a legend. Honestly, I just cannot wait for the moment when I get to ride it myself. This element again belongs to the company Intamin, and it has undoubtedly become one of the most talked about engineering experiments of recent years. The classic Cobra roll is one of the most recognizable elements in the history of roller coasters. You can often see it on Vekoma coasters, where it serves as an impressive double inversion at the beginning of the route. But Intamin decided to go further and ask a question. Is it possible to keep the shape of the Cobra but not turn the riders upside down? The answer was the coaster Condaya, which opened at Walibi, Belgium. The project was announced back in 2018 at the IAAPA Expo, and from that moment, it became one of the most anticipated in the industry. The main highlight of the new Intamin Mega Coaster is precisely the non-inverting Cobra loop. It looks familiar, the same wave-like curve, but instead of inverting, the train passes through it while remaining upright the entire time. Despite the absence of an inversion, the element is far from boring. It is filled with lateral shifts and changes of angle, creating the feeling that you are being gently tossed from side to side. Intamin itself described it as a fantastic succession of lateral rolls. I have not yet had the chance to ride Conda, but judging by the reviews, the element has become a true highlight of the layout. If any of you have already ridden it, be sure to tell me about it in the comments. This element, created by Intamin, is rightfully considered one of the most elegant and visually beautiful of all that have ever appeared in the world of roller coasters. It was first implemented in 2011 on the ride Cheetah Hunt at Busch Gardens, Tampa, in Florida. According to the park's management, the tower was deliberately designed so as to stand out from the rest of the layout and catch the eye of guests. The Vice President of Design and Engineering, Mark Rose, said at the time, "Social media has become a huge part of our lives. People are taking photos of everything on their phones, posting them on Facebook, and their friends are asking, 'Where was this taken? I have never seen anything like that.' That is how the conversation starts, and that is exactly what we wanted to evoke." The element is located right after the second launch, when the train reaches a speed of about 60 miles per hour, exactly the speed a cheetah can reach according to the concept. At this insane speed, the train rushes into the wind catcher tower, soaring upward with a light pop of airtime. At the top, the train encounters a smooth figure in the shape of a horizontal 8. From there, a dizzying panoramic view opens up over the entire park and the tropical landscape of Tampa. After a short walk at height, the train dives down again, continuing the route with renewed acceleration. Although Cheetah Hunt is not considered the most extreme coaster in the world, it still remains one of the most beloved by fans, and by me personally as well. Its long layout, multiple launches, fantastic interaction with the landscape, and a spectacular heartline roll make it a truly joyful, sunny ride. And the industry obviously appreciated this approach, because recently in China, at Happy Valley Jiangsu, a similar coaster called Light of Revenge opened, which also includes a wind catcher tower. As of today, there are only 2 coasters in the world that have this element, and both are considered true gems of park engineering. This element belongs to the American company Rocky Mountain Construction, and if you are familiar with their work, you know, Each of their coasters is a small revolution. RMC became famous for transforming outdated wooden rides into modern hybrids with steel track and new elements. One such project was the reconstruction of the coaster Robin Hood at Walibi Holland in the Netherlands. In 2019, the old wooden layout was completely reworked and reborn under the new name Untamed. Only the supports remained from the previous version, and everything else turned into a real fireworks display of airtime and innovations. The brightest element of the new layout was the double inverting stall. In its essence, it resembles the famous zero-G stall, where the train hangs upside down for a brief moment. But here, the engineers went even further. Instead of freezing upside down, the train stalls in a sideways position, tilting first to one side and then to the other. The effect is as if you are flying sideways and time around you stops. For a moment, you feel your body literally suspended in the air before it returns to motion again. This is an extremely rare element that has not yet been repeated on any other RMC coaster. And it is no wonder. Its creator Alan Schilke has always been known for not being afraid to experiment and for creating what no one has tried before. Untamed has become a true calling card of engineering boldness. And if you ever find yourself in the Netherlands, this ride absolutely has to be on your list, if only for the sake of that incredible moment of sideways stalling that is simply impossible to forget. First place, and probably the strangest element of all, belongs to SNS Sansei. It exists only on one coaster model in the world, Screaming Squirrel, and only 2 of these rides have ever been built: Man of War at Mysterious Island in China and Sequoia Magic Loop at Gardaland in Italy. The model debuted at the SNS testing ground in Utah. The idea was insanely original. Take the familiar Wild Mouse concept and literally flip it on its side. Instead of the usual sharp horizontal turns, here there are vertical loops, but not classic inversions, rather compact, inside-out looking figures. Each such inversion received the name saxophone, because the track really does resemble the outline of that wind instrument. Visually, it all looks like a frame from a clickbait video. The train moves along long, inverted sections, hanging upside down, and it creates the feeling that all the laws of gravity have been broken. Although reviews of the Screaming Squirrel model are quite controversial, many call it weird, rough, and disorienting, it is impossible to argue with the fact that it looks astonishingly unusual. Personally, I would love to ride such a coaster at least once purely out of curiosity. Sometimes it is enough just to look at something unique to remember. In engineering, just like in art, the main thing is not being afraid to break the rules. And saxophone is exactly the embodiment of boldness for which roller coasters are created. This coaster vividly confirms the saying, "Big things often hide in small packages." Before us is a prototype from RMC, the first single-rail coaster in the world. Each row has only one seat, and because of this, an incredible sense of openness is created, as if you literally straddled the rail and are racing into nowhere. After the steep first drop, the train simply explodes along the track, and the speed feels higher than it really is. A dive loop, a cutback, a corkscrew, everything rides smoothly and yet very dynamically. But most impressive are the airtime bursts that throw you out of your seat with enviable regularity. Additional charm is created by the location. Part of the layout runs over water, and the proximity to the park's sheer rock wall adds visual drama. For a prototype, this is a stunning result, and it once again proves RMC does not know how to build boring attractions. X2 is pure madness. Even knowing what lies ahead, I was stunned. This is an attraction that cannot be fully described in words. It is too vivid, too strange, and too intense. The main feature is the rotating seats. From the very first drop, you are turned face down, and you fly straight into the void. Then the seats begin to spin on their own program, and you lose orientation. Now you are flying face first, then on your back, then suddenly rushing backward through flaming effects. The culmination is the so-called Raven turn at the end. It is so wild and unexpected that every time you have to muster your will to hold on. X2 gives no respite. It simply annihilates you with its energy. After the ride, many people exit with shaking legs and need a pause to collect themselves. And that is the best indicator. X2 is one of the most ruthless and insane attractions on the planet. If clouds had a shape, they would look like this attraction. Beyond the clouds is like a poem written with steel and air. It begins calmly, as if inviting you for a walk in the sky. But within a second you realize this is not a walk, but a storming of the heavens. The first hill carries you to a height where the air is thinner and the sound of the wind is louder. The drop, rapid, endless, flows into a smooth turn. Then follow spirals, inversions, and a moment when you literally fly through white radiance, as if bursting through the clouds. There is no aggression here, only grace and speed joined into a single whole. Beyond the clouds is a coaster that not only lifts the body, it lifts the soul. The name Airy Force One sounds like a play on words and perfectly conveys the essence. This is not just a coaster. This is a flight at the limit of possibilities. From the first seconds, the train dives down like a falling fighter jet, and then, without a pause, a series of sharp maneuvers and inversions. Every curve is like a gust of wind, every inversion, a short explosion of adrenaline. The signature moment is the Raven Trust dive turnaround, a long flowing turn where your body hangs in the air as if someone let you go. And then, a series of airtime hills where each lift from the seat feels like a jump into weightlessness. The finale is a rapid cascade of drops, the so-called quadruple down. These are 4 descents in a row, each slightly stronger than the previous. By this point, you are no longer screaming, you are simply laughing, not believing that all this is real. Airy Force One is pure joy, an attraction you cannot forget, because it does not just scare, it awakens. Finnish taiga is like the northern lights in the world of attractions. Cold air, the sharp smell of metal, and a layout that seems drawn across the sky. Right after the start, you are hurled forward, a magnetic launch, a turn, another climb. And there you already are at a height where the city looks like a toy. A sharp drop follows, and the body instantly plunges into a stream of speed. A 0G roll makes you forget about weight for a second. An Immelman loop turns your perception upside down, and then the second half of the layout, where the real madness begins. Every element is like a flash of light in the night, short, bright, and memorable. Taiga is not aggressive. It is rather clever. It does not try to scare, it hypnotizes. And perhaps that is why it is called one of the most elegant and balanced coasters in the world. Now we move to Indiana, where the legendary wooden giant stands, the Voyage. This coaster opened on May 6, 2006, at Holiday World and Splashin' Safari in the town of Santa Claus. Its theme refers to the voyage of the Mayflower to the New World. The Voyage became a real record holder. The track length is 6,442 feet, almost 1,960 meters. It is the second longest wooden coaster in the world. The project was created by the Gravity Group and immediately entered history thanks to an extreme amount of airtime, 24.3 seconds of weightlessness. No other wooden attraction can boast this. On the track, there are 15 hills, 3 large drops, 47, 33, and 30 meters. And the first drop at an angle of 66 degrees accelerates the train to a speed of 108 kilometers per hour. The track runs through dense forest, creating the illusion of a wild adventure. The ride at night is especially impressive when it seems that the rails disappear into the darkness and every change of direction becomes a surprise. The construction even includes a 90-degree banked turn, an extremely rare element for wooden coasters. The Voyage became the central element of the park and still attracts fans from all over the world. Since opening, it has repeatedly received awards as the best wooden attraction on the planet. When the old wooden attraction Wildcat stopped inspiring excitement, it was not scrapped. It was given a second life. Thus appeared Wildcat's Revenge, that very Revenge of the Wildcat, and the name here sounds absolutely literal. The first thing you see is a massive steel structure intertwined with a wooden framework. A lift, a short pause, and then a drop almost vertically downward. Your whole body seems to explode from the acceleration, and then begins a cascade of airtime hills and flips. The RMC engineers once again did the impossible. Every inversion here feels like a leap into another reality. Smooth yet powerful, fast yet not painful. And in some moments, the track passes right inside the old structure, as if the wild cat truly avenges its past. This coaster is not only fast, it is emotional. Every ride here is like a short film where you are the main character, and the ending is always the same: elation. Poland has also added its star to the world pantheon. Hyperion, created by the Swiss company Intamin, is a giant that from the very start promises you a journey to Saturn's moon. The mission, swift, extreme, and full of moments when it seems the air is being torn from your chest. After a climb to a height of more than 60 meters, the train drops at an 85-degree angle straight into a tunnel, accelerating to 140 kilometers per hour, one of the craziest speeds in Europe. Then you face huge airtime humps, an impressive dive-drop inversion, and, attention, the fastest coaster in the world with an inversion. The second half of the layout runs low to the ground, with blinding turns, direction changes, and pops that throw you from the seat again and again. Hyperion is the highest, longest, and fastest coaster in Poland, and without a doubt, one of the most aggressive airtime machines on the planet. If you dream of experiencing moments when speed feels like madness, this is the place you need to fly to. The story of Twisted Colossus began back in 1978, when it was simply Colossus, two wooden tracks running side by side, like two rivals in an eternal race. But the years passed, and the attraction received a second wind. The Rocky Mountain construction engineering team decided to turn the old giant into something completely new. They combined both tracks into one, creating a Mobius loop circuit where riders pass both sides consecutively without leaving the train. It is like a race with yourself, where there is no finish, only an endless rhythm of speed and wind. On the new track appeared the signature iBox technology, thanks to which the coaster received smooth airtime moments and two dizzying inversions, a zero-G roll and a Top Gun stall. During them, the trains intersect, creating the illusion of a collision, a spectacle that takes your breath away. But the greatest thrill awaits those who manage to catch a synchronized dispatch, when two trains start at the same time. Then the real miracle begins. You race side by side with the other train, feeling the waves of air and the roar of wheels merge into a single mad chorus. The long layout, dynamic interweavings, sharp drops and climbs turn the ride into a true spectacle of steel and speed. Every meter of this path is like a pulse of energy that cannot be conveyed in words. Twisted Colossus is a legend that survived rebirth and became one of the most iconic coasters in history. If you love racing, freedom, and adrenaline, this is the attraction that every rider dreams of experiencing. Once this was the old wooden attraction Gwazi, rough, noisy, and, to be honest, not the visitor's favorite. But then a miracle happened. RMC engineers took the ruins of the old structure and turned them into a true steel phoenix, Iron Gwazi. The first lift, slow, as if they are deliberately preparing you for the inevitable. At the top, a second of silence. And then, the drop. Almost vertical, with an acceleration that takes your breath away. Then begins the choreography of madness, a zero-G stall, a smooth barrel roll-like inversion, sideways airtime hills and wave turns where the train seems to fly through the air as if detached from the rails. Every movement is thought out, not a single extra inch. Iron Gwazi is an example of how even a forgotten legend can return to become king again. Ruthless, swift, yet surprisingly smooth. It does not break you, it tempers you. In Japanese, hakuge means white whale, and the name fits perfectly. This is not just an attraction, it is a giant swimming on waves of air. Once the old wooden coaster White Cyclone stood here, but the engineers from RMC turned it into something completely new. A snow-white framework, steel rails, and smooth curves from which it is impossible to tear your eyes away. The lift is accompanied by the clatter of a chain, a short pause, and you drop at an almost vertical angle. Then, a long airtime moment, an inversion, and another leap. Every section of track passes through a dense lattice of wooden beams, creating the sensation that you are flying inside a living creature. Hakuge is a mixture of strength and grace, uncompromising power framed in a poetic form. This coaster is not just fast, it is absurdly beautiful. The name of this attraction is long and impressive by itself, but even more impressions await inside. Many call it a family coaster because there are no dizzying G-loads or wild airtime payoffs like on Extreme Monsters. But for me personally, this coaster turned out to be so engaging and well-designed that it easily stands out among many others. First and foremost, the theming. The atmosphere is stunning. Every detail, every decoration transports you into the world of Harry Potter. I am a big fan of this universe, so all the references to the books and films hidden along the route delight me. On the way you meet Fluffy, Devil's Snare, a unicorn, and even a fire crab-like creature, that very magical beast that was not in the films but comes to life here, right on the attraction. But this ride is not limited to decorations alone. There is an amazing variety of elements. A full 7 launches, and the last of them is genuinely noticeable even for an adult. And now imagine you have a choice: to ride either in the sidecar or at the motorcycle's handlebar. I always choose the motorcycle. It feels as if you are truly holding the handlebars, and, together with the powerful acceleration, bursting forward. And that is only the beginning. Ahead lies a backward section and a sudden drop track. Even knowing about it in advance, I still jumped from surprise. Altogether, this forms an incredible cocktail of impressions. This attraction can be compared to a multi-layer lasagna. Every new element adds flavor, and in the end, you get a perfectly balanced dish that you want to try again and again. Among all B&M hypercoasters, Diamondback holds a special place. It is a true airtime factory, hill after hill, drop after drop, and every time you hover above the seat. Even the brake sections cannot kill the layout's momentum. The culmination is the signature splashdown, when the train at speed rips through the water, leaving a fountain behind. It is spectacular, beautiful, and creates a bright exclamation point at the end of the ride. What is especially valuable is that the track goes into the woods. Because of this, Diamondback offers unique night rides, when you rush through darkness and the only light is the stars overhead. Overall, it is precisely for such moments that Kings Island has earned the reputation of the true capital of night rides. My first acquaintance with Skyrush in 2017, I will never forget. A lift on a fast cable system, and there you are already at the top. Then, a rapid plunge downward, and from there the layout literally tears you out of the seat dozens of times in a row. Skyrush is known for its wild intensity and the most powerful airtime bursts. Many complain about the hard restraints that dig into your thighs, and yes, sometimes they cause discomfort. But I take it more simply. Even if it hurts, the airtime sensations are such as you cannot find anywhere else. The train covers the course with the ferocity of a bullet flying through oil, fast, powerful, without a single pause. And by the end of the ride, you sit stunned, not understanding what just happened. Skyrush is one of the most merciless and crazy coasters I have ever ridden. And despite all its drawbacks, I return to it greedily every time. And if Millennium Force gives smoothness and sweep, then Maverick is an explosion of emotions and variety. From the first seconds, the ride hits hard. An outrageous 95-degree angle rips the train downward, especially in the back rows. There you are, literally yanked out of the seat. Although this coaster is far lower than Millennium Force, its opening element feels many times more powerful. Then, the real insanity begins. There are sharp transitions, powerful airtime moments, and a unique element: the twisted horseshoe roll, the first double inversion combination in the world. And when it seems everything is over, the train dives into a tunnel and unexpectedly receives a new impulse: a powerful magnetic launch. It throws you out toward a turn over the water, and then follow two high-speed overbanks that toss you side to side. Many people complain about the hard over-the-shoulder restraints, but I have learned to hold myself correctly. And for me, these turns are pure pleasure. Maverick proves numbers and height are not always decisive. Sometimes it is precisely compactness and a furious rhythm that make a coaster a legend. This point will spark debate, but allow me to explain. Yes, Diamondback's airtime is felt more often and more brightly, but Orion possesses a special epic quality that hooked me more strongly. This is the newest Geiger coaster from B&M, and unlike classic hypers, it places more emphasis on speed and large-scale elements. The first drop here is stunning. The train plunges from a colossal height, and right away, you are picked up by a giant wave turned nearly 200 feet tall. Next comes a turnaround with a view of the entire park, and at this moment, you realize how grand everything is around you. After this, the train dives into a speed hill with long, sustained airtime, then follows another tall crest with a powerful payoff, and even despite the mid-course brakes, the next spiral turn is so intense that my vision began to darken. And in the finale, a surprising element: a sideways bank with airtime that turned out to be the strongest on the course, even though it is located right before the brakes. Orion cannot be called ordinary. It has everything: speed, airtime, and wild energy. After each ride, I was left with the feeling that there were simply no flaws. Another legendary attraction that proves you do not need inversions to deliver unreal emotions. Phantom's Revenge was originally built by Arrow with loops, but later it was reworked by Morgan and became many times better. Here the main shock is the second drop, which is higher and longer than the first. The coaster uses the terrain, and the train dives down into a deep valley by 228 feet. The speed reaches 85 miles per hour, and from this moment, the train seems not to know what slow down means. A special feature is the interactions with another attraction, Thunderbolt, where a head chopper effect is created. It seems the structures literally brush your head. But even more astonishing is the airtime. The restraints here are light, and therefore the ejector moments feel insanely powerful. I especially remember the double sharp drop. At that moment, I seriously thought the train would come off the rails. Phantom's Revenge is a must-do for any roller coaster fan. It is worth going to Pittsburgh for it alone. If there were an Olympus of attractions, Steel Vengeance would stand at its summit. This is not just a roller coaster. This is the culmination of everything humanity has achieved in the art of speed. Once upon a time, here stood the wooden coaster Mean Streak, huge but rough. Over the years, it became outdated until the engineers decided to give it a second birth. Thus appeared Steel Vengeance, a living legend, a masterpiece of wood and metal. The first hill, a 200-foot climb. The wind intensifies, the park panorama disappears below, and suddenly, a plunge. The drop is almost vertical, and at that moment you realize there is no turning back. Then begins an orchestra of airtime and insane inversions. The body now soars, now spins, now hangs in a perfect zero-G stall. And the track stretches and stretches, weaving over itself, turning into a dance where every movement is delight. Steel Vengeance is not just the best attraction in the world. It is the point where engineering becomes art and fear, inspiration. Everyone who has ridden it at least once says the same thing. After this, nothing is scary anymore. In the American city of Allentown, Pennsylvania, sits an attraction that captured thrill seekers in the late 1990s. Steel Force is a steel hypercoaster at Dorney Park and Wildwater Kingdom, opened on May 30th, 1997. At the time, it immediately became one of the tallest and fastest attractions in the world. Its length is 5,600 feet, that is 1,777 meters, and the maximum height is 61 meters. The very first drop is stunning, 205 feet, that is 62 meters down at an angle of 61 degrees. The speed reaches 121 kilometers per hour, and the entire ride lasts about 3 minutes. Steel Force became the first hypercoaster on the United States East Coast and quickly gained cult status. Its track is built in the so-called out and back scheme. The trains go far from the station along a long straight and then return along a parallel line generously studded with camelbacks that provide an effect of weightlessness. The ride begins with a long lift, then a swift fall, immediately followed by a huge hill that tosses passengers above their seats. Then comes a moment especially loved by fans. A rapid burst through an underground tunnel at furious speed. After that comes a series of turns and new hills that keep the tension up to the very brake run. In 1 hour, the attraction can carry up to 1,700 people. To build this behemoth, more than 2,000 tons of steel, 5,500 tons of concrete, and almost 3,000 anchor bolts were required. Although many longer and faster coasters have been built today, Steel Force remains a legend. It was one of the first to prove that hypercoasters are a new level of entertainment. And even now, decades later, it delivers powerful emotions and is rightfully considered a classic. And now let us move to Sandusky, Ohio, where a park stands that is known around the world as the roller coaster capital. And it is here, at Cedar Point, that one of the most unique attractions of modern times appeared: Steel Vengeance. The coaster opened in May of 2018 and immediately caused a furor. It was built by Rocky Mountain Construction, and it is a hybrid, a wooden structure combined with a steel track. The attraction arose on the site of the old Mean Streak, which operated from 1991 to 2016. RMC replaced the wooden rails with steel ones, which made it possible to create completely new elements while preserving the atmosphere of a classic. The theme is the Wild West, a story about two bandit twins thirsting for revenge. All of this is framed by the frontier town location. Steel Vengeance impresses with its scale. Height, more than 62 meters, first drop, 200 feet at an angle of 90 degrees. The speed reaches 119 kilometers per hour, and the track length is 5,740 feet, that is 1,750 meters. The entire ride lasts 2.5 minutes. But the main thing is a record 27 seconds of airtime. No other coaster in the world keeps passengers in weightlessness for so long. There are a total of 4 inversions here, including a zero-G roll and corkscrews, and the combination of vertical and lateral forces delivers absolutely unique sensations. Engineers managed to perfectly combine the modern smoothness of steel coasters with the atmosphere of a massive wooden framework. Steel Vengeance proved that there is still room for revolutions in the world of roller coasters. And at Cedar Point, it has taken the throne as the park's main attraction. Steel Dragon 2000 opened on August 1st, 2000 at Nagashima Spa Land and immediately went down in history. It received its name in honor of the Year of the Dragon in the Chinese calendar, and its characteristics still amaze the imagination. Height, 97 meters, first drop, 94 meters, speed, 153 kilometers per hour. But the main thing is the track length, 8,133 feet, or almost 2,500 meters. It is the longest steel attraction in the world. Built by Morgan Manufacturing for $50 million, Steel Dragon 2000 became a symbol of Japanese engineering. Interestingly, instead of modern cable lifts, a traditional chain is still used here, the longest in the world. The ascent to the summit takes a long time, and the view is grand. The entire park and the Ice Bay shoreline. After the dizzying first drop, the track follows a classic out-and-back layout. Long straights, huge camelbacks, and sweeping curves. In 2013, the trains were replaced with new ones by B&M, which made the ride even more comfortable. Steel Dragon 2000 remains one of the main reasons why roller coaster fans from all over the world come to Japan. Its silhouette towers over the park and can be seen from many kilometers away, and the ride itself is a must on every enthusiast's list. The next stop is Kansas City, Missouri. Here at Worlds of Fun rises Mamba, an attraction named after a deadly snake. This steel coaster opened on April 18, 1998, and quickly won the hearts of guests. Mamba was created by the same Morgan Manufacturing, and its length is identical to Steel Force, 5,600 feet. That is approximately 1,700 meters. The maximum height is 62 meters, the speed up to 121 kilometers per hour. The construction cost exceeded $10 million, which was a huge investment for the park. The track layout is similar to its colleague in Pennsylvania. A first drop from a height of 205 feet, then a second hill 56 meters high. A special highlight is a 580-degree helix and a whole series of 5 humps, each of which gives the feeling of flight. Mamba became a landmark project for Worlds of Fun, as its construction coincided with a period of transformation and a new stage of development. The attraction instantly became the park's main calling card, drawing crowds of visitors. To this day, it is considered a classic of the American Midwest, a must for any thrill lover. And opening our list is an attraction that has won the hearts of fans of superhero stories. Guardians of the Galaxy, Cosmic Rewind at Epcot in the Walt Disney World Resort in Florida is a true sensation. Its length is 5,577 feet, or 1,700 meters, and it holds the title of the longest indoor coaster in the world. The attraction opened on May 27, 2022, and became the first project in the park's history inspired by the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Here, cutting-edge technologies, signature humor, and beloved characters from Guardians of the Galaxy combine in an incredible way. All of this turned Cosmic Rewind into one of the key highlights of the park. The coaster appeared in Epcot's new area called World Discovery and took the place of the Universe of Energy Pavilion. The gigantic building houses not only the track itself, but also an interactive queue area, the Galaxarium, where visitors get acquainted with the planet Xandar, the home of the Nova Corps. Despite its impressive length, Cosmic Rewind is a family attraction, but it has unique features. It is the first coaster in Disney history with a reverse launch. Thanks to Omni-Coaster technology, the cars can rotate 360 degrees so that guests are always facing the main events. The combination of screen effects and practical scenery transports you into the depths of space, into a world of star fields, wormholes, and intergalactic battles. The main feature of the attraction is not only the dynamics of the track, but also the iconic soundtrack. As in the films, you will hear a selection of hits from the 1970s and 1980s that instantly lift the mood and turn the ride into a true cosmic concert. The arrival of Cosmic Rewind caused unprecedented excitement, and it is already clear that its success will serve as an example for future Disney projects around the world. And now, let us move to Mexico, where a true national symbol is located. Superman El Último Escape is the pride of Six Flags Mexico in Mexico City. It is not only the tallest and fastest coaster in the country, but also a leader on the entire South American continent. The attraction opened in November of 2004 and instantly became a crowd favorite. Its length is 1,700 meters, or just over 5,500 feet. The lift height reaches 66 meters, and the speed, up to 120 kilometers per hour. The entire route takes more than 3 minutes of pure adrenaline. The queue begins with Atmosphere, Metropolis, the Daily Planet building, and familiar images of Superman's enemies. Visitors are greeted by a truly cinematic setting. When you sit in the red and blue trains, you feel as if you yourself are donning the cape of the Man of Steel. The first light bunny hops quickly give way to a long ascent to the main hill. From its summit, views of the park and of Mexico City itself open up. The heart starts beating faster and faster. And then comes the moment of truth. A rapid drop that feels almost vertical, followed by a whole series of airtime hills, sharp turns, and long curves. In these moments, you seem to lose weight and truly soar in the sky. The attraction has long become an integral part of the country's cultural heritage. In December of 2020, news of its closure shocked fans, but it turned out to be just a prank on the Day of the Holy Innocents, the Mexican analog of April Fool's Day. Today, Superman El Ultimo Escape operates at full strength and continues to give the feeling of flight to thousands of fans of comic books and thrills. Falcon's Flight is the future flagship of Six Flags Qiddiya in Saudi Arabia, planned to open in 2025. Its specifications sound fantastic. Height, 195 meters. Track length, 4 kilometers. Maximum speed, 250 kilometers per hour. This will be a new class of attractions, dubbed an exacoaster, because no project has previously dared to reach such numbers. The track will be integrated directly into natural cliffs and canyons, and the key element will be a vertical climb followed by a 160-meter drop. The uniqueness lies in the fact that there will not be just one, but 3 magnetic launches. The first and second are for accelerating on the ascent, and the third is right on the descent to reach maximum speed. In total, more than 700 linear motors will be installed in the construction, 6 times more than on any other attraction in the world. Open-air trains will be equipped with individual windshields so that passengers can withstand such extreme speeds. The theme is also symbolic, the flight of a falcon over the desert. The combination of engineering solutions and unique terrain will make Falcon's Flight not just an attraction, but a true marvel of engineering. This project has already sparked a storm of discussion. Some are eagerly awaiting it, others consider it too extreme. But one thing is certain: after opening, Falcon's Flight will change humanity's idea of what roller coasters can be. When the construction of Time Traveler was first announced, many fans were disappointed. They expected a classic high-speed launch coaster and got a spinning coaster. But in the end, it was precisely this feature that made the attraction a true sensation. From the very first seconds, the ride surprises you. The train leaves the station and immediately drops down at a 90-degree angle. Only, unlike the usual drop, you are not looking straight down but sideways, and therefore you do not understand at all where you are rushing. The sensations are many times stronger and more unexpected. Next comes a whirlwind of elements, a dive loop, twisted turns, the first magnetic launch, after it, a loop, a zero-G roll, another launch. And all this time, the car smoothly rotates like a gyroscope, sending you in different directions at the same time. Usually, I do not like attractions with spinning. It is easy to get motion sick, and the impressions are spoiled. But here, everything is controlled and calibrated. The rotation only amplifies the sensations and does not knock you off your feet. And this once again proves that Mack Rides knows how to surprise even the most demanding visitors. If your passion is speed and wild intensity, then Intimidator 305 was created just for you. Named after the legendary driver Dale Earnhardt, this giant fully lives up to its name. Height, 305 feet. Drop angle, 85 degrees. This alone is enough to make your heart sink. But the most famous thing here is the first turn immediately after the drop. The train flies into it at maximum speed, and the G-forces are so strong that many gray out. The eyes go gray, and sometimes a brief blackout occurs. The entire layout is built on insane speed, fast turns, quick changes of direction, a couple of powerful airtime hills. But the main thing, the sensation, as if you are truly driving a racing car. The track runs close to the ground, and this only intensifies the feeling of crazy dynamics. Since I first rode Intimidator 305 in 2018, it has invariably left me wanting to return. And every time I wait again for that moment when consciousness almost switches off from the G-load. Once I ranked this attraction higher, but even now it still remains one of my favorites. And to be honest, I am grateful to fate that such a masterpiece is in my home park. The first impression is the iconic drop straight into a tunnel. But even before it, you are treated to a gorgeous view of the Connecticut River, because the lift is designed to give a truly picturesque moment. And then the show begins, a sequence of airtime, deep valleys, and powerful turns. Every element is integrated perfectly, from passing through the giant S symbol to the concrete tunnel and the final series of bunny hills. The whole route seems created to throw you out of the seat again and again. Yes, not everyone likes the over-the-shoulder restraints, but personally, they do not bother me enough to spoil the ride. The energy of the layout itself, its rhythm and power outweigh all the minor shortcomings. Superman the Ride is a coaster that will never get boring, no matter how many times I ride it. Many wonder, why did I put Millennium Force slightly above Intimidator 305? The answer is simple. Yes, Intimidator delivers unmatched intensity, but Millennium Force turned out to be more fun and harmonious for me. Its main advantage is the opportunity to enjoy the view and the layout itself. The climb to the gigantic height opens a stunning panorama. On one side, Lake Erie on the other, the entire Cedar Point Park in all its glory. And only after this beauty does the train throw itself down into a gigantic overbank. Interestingly, Millennium Force's speed is even higher than that of Intimidator, if only by 3 miles per hour. But due to the long and smooth elements, the acceleration feels gentler. Yet this gives you the chance to savor every airtime moment and each dynamic section of track. Airtime hills, tunnels, turns, the huge sweep of the layout, all this combines into one of the most majestic giga coasters in the world. Millennium Force always remains a must-do for me at Cedar Point. And although I personally place it at 16th, I completely understand why, for many, it forever remains number 1. Yes, wooden coasters can surprise too, and Ghost Rider is the best proof of that. This attraction is not just good, it is phenomenal. Knott's Berry Farm is already a wonderful park, but it is Ghost Rider that makes it special. The layout is long and rich, and although it does not break records for length, it feels much more massive than it actually is. Every drop here seems to make the ground collapse under your feet. The train literally pulls out from under you. The airtime is aggressive and powerful, and the high-speed turns add laterals that only intensify the impressions. A special charm is created by the structure of the coaster itself. Many sections pass inside the wooden supports, creating a head chopper effect, a moment when it seems the structures are about to hit your head. All of this together gives the perfect balance: wild airtime, intense turns, and the atmosphere of true old school. And a night ride here is a story of its own. Adrenaline multiplied by darkness and park lights turns Ghost Rider into an absolute masterpiece. Now we head to Japan, at the foot of the sacred Mount Fuji. Here at Fuji-Q Highland since July 17, 1996, the legendary Fujiyama has been operating, nicknamed the King of Coasters. At the time of opening, it became the tallest and fastest attraction in the world. Its height is 79 meters, the maximum speed is 130 kilometers per hour, and the length is 2,450 meters. The construction cost reached $40 million, and it was a true sensation. The ascent to the summit takes several long minutes, during which a breathtaking view of Fuji and the surroundings opens up. Then follows a huge drop that accelerates the ride to maximum speed, and a whole series of colossal hills, curves, and long, straight sections. The main difference of Fujiyama is the combination of record characteristics and a unique setting. Here you feel not just the power of adrenaline, but as if you become part of the landscape. The snow-covered slopes of Fuji, the dense forests of Aokigahara, and the clear air create an atmosphere unlike any other park. Even after almost 3 decades, Fujiyama remains the calling card of Fuji-Q Highland. Although its records have long been broken, it is still a favorite among fans and a symbol of an era when Japan proved that it could compete with the world's leaders in the entertainment industry. And now let us move to sunny California, where one of the most cinematic attractions of modern times is located, Incredicoaster. This project appeared on June 23, 2018, at Disney California Adventure as part of the Pixar Pier update. Before that, the coaster California Screamin' operated here, and it was reimagined in the style of the popular animated film, The Incredibles. Incredicoaster is the longest steel coaster with an inversion in the world. The length is 6,072 feet, or 1,851 meters. The ride lasts approximately 2 minutes 36 seconds. The maximum speed reaches 89 kilometers per hour, and the drop height is 33 meters. The story is built around the youngest member of the super family, Jack, who escapes during a press event. Before the start, viewers watch a safety video in which Edna Mode explains that the baby has gone wild, using his superpowers. The launch is performed by a magnetic system, only 4 seconds, and the train is already at top speed. Elastigirl's voice calls for help to catch Jack, and the track leads the trains through a series of hills, turns, and tunnels. In each tunnel, a scene with the heroes is played out. Elastigirl stretches her arms, Dash races alongside the train, Violet creates force fields, and Mr. Incredible tries to catch the baby. The main surprise is the preserved loop from the coaster's previous version. At the moment of inversion, passengers find themselves weightless for a second. The musical score was written by Michael Giacchino himself, the composer of the original film, and speakers in the trains fully immerse you in the action. Incredicoaster is a rare case where a long and fast track is combined with a full-fledged plot, bright theming, and effects. This makes it not just an attraction, but a true animated adventure in which you become part of the story. When it comes to speed, this attraction is the undisputed champion. Formula Rossa at Ferrari World, located on Yas Island in Abu Dhabi, has held the world record as the fastest coaster on the planet since its opening on November 4, 2010. The maximum speed here is simply incredible, 240 kilometers per hour, and it is reached in a matter of seconds thanks to a unique hydraulic launch system similar to that used to catapult fighter jets from aircraft carriers. Just 4.9 seconds, and the train turns into a Formula One car. The acceleration is so strong that passengers are given special protective goggles to shield their eyes from sand and fine debris. The Formula Rossa track is 2,200 meters long and occupies an area comparable to several football stadiums. The first hill reaches a height of 52 meters, after which the ride plunges downward and enters a series of long straightaways, smooth curves, and high-speed turns. The entire route lasts just over 1.5 minutes, but during that time, you experience such a storm of emotions that it feels as if you yourself were behind the wheel of a Ferrari racing car. The train design echoes the lines of Formula One machines, and in the queue area, you can see exhibits dedicated to the history and engineering of the legendary brand. Formula Rossa is not just an attraction, but a true engineering marvel and a symbol of passion for speed. It made Ferrari World a must-visit for tourists and Yas Island a global entertainment center. At the beginning of the new millennium, an event occurred in the world of roller coasters that changed the entire industry. On May 13, 2000, Cedar Point in Ohio opened Millennium Force, the first Giga coaster in history. That is, an attraction over 300 feet tall. The lift height is 94 meters, and the first drop at an angle of 80 degrees plunges passengers down 300 feet, accelerating to 150 kilometers per hour. The track length is 6,595 feet, or 2,010 meters. The hallmark of Millennium Force is an innovative cable lift system that works much faster than traditional chains. As the train climbs, an incredible panorama of Lake Erie and the park itself opens up. But once the ride reaches the summit, An abyss instantly appears ahead, a fall you cannot forget. A feeling of speed and freedom permeates the entire track, a series of hills, smooth transitions, long curves, and moments of weightlessness. Engineers from Intamin focused on maximum smoothness. The ride proceeds without roughness, which is especially surprising at such height. Open trains with lap bars only enhance the sense of flight, and proximity to water and terrain creates the illusion of even greater speed. Millennium Force not only broke records for height, speed, and length, but also became a true icon of the industry, inspiring the emergence of an entire class of gigacoasters around the world. On March 15, 2015, at Carowinds, located right on the border of North Carolina and South Carolina, a grand opening took place. Fury 325 became the embodiment of power. The lift height is 99 meters, and the first drop is 98 meters at an angle of 81 degrees. The coaster's name translates as Fury 325, and it fully lives up to it. It is the fourth tallest operating coaster in the world. Its length is 6,610 feet, 2,020 meters, and the maximum speed reaches 153 kilometers per hour. The ascent begins to a dizzying height, from where a panorama opens for many kilometers, including the silhouette of Charlotte. After the first drop, the train rushes into a huge leaning curve, then follows a sequence of hills where passengers repeatedly lift from their seats. A special point of pride is the treble clef element, reminiscent of the musical symbol, a climb with a twist and a subsequent curve downward. There are also high-speed S-curves and turns that fly right over the park's main entrance. All this makes Fury 325 also a visual dominator that greets guests even before they step through the gates. Engineers from B&M used about 3,000 tons of steel to bring this project to life, and the paint scheme in green and turquoise tones with a characteristic buzzing in the queue area underscores the theme, an aggressive hornet attacking at furious speed. Fury 325 is rightfully considered one of the most impressive coasters of modern times. Now we return to America, to one of the most iconic wooden coasters in the world. The Beast, opened at Kings Island in Ohio on April 14, 1979, still holds the record as the longest wooden coaster on the planet. Its length is almost 2,200 meters, and the ride time is more than 4 minutes. This is not just an attraction. It is a whole journey that stretches across 35 acres of land, with tunnels, drops, and curves integrated directly into the natural terrain. The Beast was created by the park's own engineers without outside companies, which made it possible to fit the track perfectly into the forest landscape. The first lift carries the train up to 33 meters, then comes a 41-meter drop that accelerates the ride to 105 kilometers per hour. In the first part of the route, a tunnel 38 meters deep is particularly impressive, through which the trains roar at speed. After a mid-course brake run, a second lift follows, behind which lies the attraction's calling card, the famous double helix. In complete darkness and at furious speed, passengers literally lose their orientation, feeling centrifugal forces press them into their seats. Since opening, the Beast has been updated multiple times to maintain smoothness and comfort. In 2022, part of the track was even reprofiled so that it would meet modern standards. Yet the attraction has kept its spirit, a wild, long, and unpredictable adventure that for more than 40 years has remained a symbol of wooden coasters. On the border of Nevada and California, in the middle of a lifeless desert, rises a giant of the 1990s, Desperado. This steel hypercoaster opened in 1994 at Buffalo Bill's Resort and Casino in Primm. It was built by Aerodynamics, and the main task was to attract travelers driving along Interstate 15. And it worked. It is impossible to pass by without noticing this steel colossus against the desert backdrop. At the time of opening, Desperado was one of the first hypercoasters in the world, and its height of 64 meters and first drop of 69 meters amazed the imagination. The maximum speed reached 128 kilometers per hour, and the track length was 1,781 meters. The trains depart directly from the casino building. The ascent to the main hill ends with a dizzying drop at an angle of 60 degrees with a tunnel pass-through, followed by huge camelbacks and sweeping curves. The ride lasts approximately 2 minutes 45 seconds and cost the creators $30 million. When Desperado opened, it briefly became the tallest attraction on the planet and effectively ushered in a new era of 1990s hypercoasters. Over time, more modern and faster coasters appeared, but this attraction remained a legend, a symbol of its time and a cult object among fans. Unfortunately, after February of 2020, Desperado has not resumed operation. The pandemic stopped the attraction, and when the casino reopened, the coaster remained closed. The owners claim that it awaits reconstruction and modernization, so fans still hope to hear the roar of wheels on the rails in the middle of the desert once again. Welcome to a world where physics forgets itself. Dinoconda is an attraction seemingly created to shatter your sense of reality. This coaster belongs to the rarest type, a 4D coaster, where the seats rotate around their own axis during motion. You do not just roll, you tumble, fly, spin, and cannot tell where up is and where down is. The first lift is tall but not scary. What is scary is that you do not know what will happen next. As soon as the train plunges down, chaos begins. The seats spin, the body loses orientation, and your brain tries to understand what is happening. Every second is an explosion of sensations. You fly sideways, upside down, down again, all accompanied by the deafening roar of metal and wind. Dinoconda is not just a roller coaster. It is virtual reality without goggles, flight without wings, a nightmare and delight in one bottle. At first glance, Conda looks like an ordinary hypercoaster. Tall, swift, beautiful. But that impression is deceptive. This attraction was created not simply for speed, it was created for flight. A height of nearly 60 meters, a smooth lift, and there you are already looking down at the tiny park beneath your feet. The next moment, a free fall that turns into a whirlwind of airtime hills. Each of them throws your body upward, and you feel the lap bar barely holding you from flying away. Conda's special trait is smoothness. There are no rough jerks or aggressive turns here. Everything is built on a sense of harmony, as if the track itself breathes with you. Every turn is predictable, and yet unexpected. This is not just a coaster, this is the breath of the wind turned into steel. Untamed is an attraction that lives with its own character. It does not just go fast, it seems to breathe, to growl, and with every second becomes wilder. Once old wooden coasters stood in this place, but the engineers from Rocky Mountain Construction turned them into a steel hybrid where energy and smoothness coexist simultaneously. Right after the first lift, the train drops down almost vertically, and you feel the ground approaching faster than you can blink. Then, an endless game of airtime and inversions. 5 flips in a row, where every transition is soft like a stream of water and at the same time incredibly powerful. On almost every section of the track, you lift out of the seat, and it seems the restraints hold not a passenger, but a storm. Untamed is not just a coaster. It is pure emotion, wild yet beautiful, unpredictable yet perfect. From the moment it launched, Velocicoaster became a symbol of a new generation of attractions. This is not just about speed, this is about a story, about the moment when technology and emotion become one. You sit in the train, and everything around comes alive. The roar of dinosaurs is heard, cages click shut, sirens warn, they have escaped. And a second later, the first launch. The magnets hurl the train forward so sharply that your breath catches, and by the time of the second launch, you think you are ready for everything. But no, you cannot be ready for it. The speed rises, you burst up to 45 meters and immediately fall down almost vertically. Then comes a series of airtime hills and inversions, one of which passes right over the lake. The Mosasaurus roll, a moment of pure rapture. Every second here is a cinematic frame. Sounds, light, wind, screams. Everything seems designed to erase the boundary between attraction and film. Velocicoaster is not just a ride. It is an adventure that remains in your body even after you leave the train. Helix is a Swedish masterpiece created not to scare, but to mesmerize. It does not rip you from your seat. It plays with sensations like a conductor who knows exactly when to let the orchestra explode. 2 magnetic launches, 7 inversions, and a layout more than a kilometer long that winds along the Liseberg hillside, opening a panorama of the city that twinkles below while you fly through the air. With every second, Helix seems to reveal a new facet. Smooth, swift, weightless. There are no rough jerks or clumsy transitions here. Every arc, every turn, as if painted by an artist's brush. You flip upside down, fall again, and suddenly, silence. For a moment it feels as if the world has frozen, and then again, a hurricane of speed. Helix does not compete with gravity. It dances with it. This is not just an attraction. It is a symphony of flight, where adrenaline sounds in unison with awe. That is it. These were 1.5 hours of the most impressive roller coaster elements from all over the world. Each of them is the result of the courage of engineers who were not afraid to challenge gravity and create something that is impossible to forget. If you had to choose which one of these wonders you would ride first, which one would it be? Write it in the comments. I am really curious to know. And if you enjoyed this journey through the world of speed and adrenaline, leave a like, share the video, and do not forget to subscribe so you do not miss new episodes.